Good morning, good morning, good morning, sunshines. Good morning, YouTube streets. It's your girl, Organized Chaos. Lakeisha, a little organization, a little chaos. Um, it's Sunday. I'm gonna go live a little later and give you a life update. But today, I haven't been really doing my drinks and journals. But I do watch a lot of like crime YouTube videos, documentaries, and stuff. And this story today has really been sitting heavy with me for like a couple of weeks. And I wanted to talk about it. I didn't know how to talk about it. And um, it's hard to talk about it. So, before I get started, if you are watching live or if you are tuning in after, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share. I would appreciate that to my little YouTube space. Um, so this story is about a young boy. His name is Takoda Collins, and I first saw a video of his father on a station called Blue Crime Investigations, Blue Light Crime Investigations. It's all of the links in the descriptions are all in. I mean, all of the links for the videos I'm going to share today and the timeline are in my description. So when I first heard his father talking about what took place, I couldn't finish listening to it because the father literally blamed the boy for the torture that he endured at his hands. So I couldn't finish listening to it. And I was kind of done with it. I was like, it's a little bit too much for me. And then I listened to, so like every day they would drop a new video about it. So there's like a whole series about different people on their station, on their channel. Then they dropped one where they talked to the teachers. And that one really sparked my interest because it wasn't as long as the interviews or, the court case itself. And it was about 10 minutes long. And I'm an educator. So as an educator, I wanted to hear what these teachers were saying about what took place. And then, like, in my head, I'm like, could they have done something differently? I'm in Michigan and we just had a very traumatic event happened here. And so there's a lot of finger pointing about who's at fault. Is it the young boy who's at fault? Is it the parents who are at fault? Is it the teachers? Is it the administrators? Is it the system itself that's at fault? So some of those things I think about, I have my own thoughts about. But as a teacher, I always want to know, like, can I do more? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do? And just from the incident that happened here, I know the teacher in the classroom did report it to the administrators. From my own perspective, I've reported some things to administrators. Once we do that, it's kind of out of our hands. It's not our job to move a step further. So I just wanted to share the video, and I'll stop it a little bit and talk about it a little bit because it's pretty interesting, the conversation that the investigators had with the teachers of Takoda Collins. And then I'm going to share a timeline of his life. He was only 10 years old. He didn't make it to his 11th birthday. He passed away right before his 11th birthday. And then I am going to share a little bit about a settlement because when I talk about the system that failed him, we have lots of systems in America. We have our educational system, we have the court system, we have the jail system, but we also have the child care, the DHS, Department of Health and Human Services systems around the country, different forms. And those systems are in place to protect children. And it seems like all of the systems failed this little boy to some degree, right? There's lots of blame to go around for what happened to him, but he should be alive. Okay. All right, let me stop my background music, and then I am going to share with you kind of my why I wanted to do this today, and then we will listen to the phone call with the authorities and the teachers of Takoda Collins. I would like to put myself smaller. Can I do that? Oh, that's better. I like it down there, I think, but then you can't see the writing. Let me see. I think I'll leave it there. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it there for now. So this is my thumbnail in memory of Takoda Collins. He was born December 18th, 2008. He left here on December the 13th, 2019. And this is my first. And so how I found the story, I kind of talked about it a little earlier. But the why is I've been doing a lot of research on my family tree through ancestry, DNA, and my heritage. And I'm interested in life stories, especially of my ancestors that are in like the 1700s. So I'm going to be coming to you guys with some of those stories as well as a part of this. We all deserve to be remembered. I'm just not ready yet, just because some of the connections I need to confirm that those, I know that they're my that we are connected. I just want to make sure, like if it's my great 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 grandfather or grandmother or grandaunt, I want to make sure I have that right. So it takes a little bit of time for me to confirm that. So today's story is coming from Blue Dot Crime and Investigations. Their channel is linked in my description. They are a channel on YouTube, and there's no conversation that they have. They literally just kind of clean up the audio, and they give you sometimes the visuals, but a lot of times it's just the recording of investigations. So I found it because the father's interview was terrible and I couldn't listen to it anymore. And then I heard the interview with the teachers and it broke my heart. So I want to play that interview first. I will stop it a little bit because I don't just want to play their video outright. And yeah, let's get started. All of the links of everything I'm going to share right now are in the description. All right, so the first thing is the Blue Dot Crime and Interrogations phone call with the teachers, and this is about the death of Takoda Collins. I'm a struggle streamer, so give it a second. I need to.
Hi, this is Joni Watson. I'm returning your call or calling you. Hello. I got a message to call.
Yeah, I was going to try and call you back. I didn't have your direct number, though. They all showed the same number.
You know, I thought about that. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
So the images that you are going to see as the recording is playing are the images of where Takoda Collins was living. So these are his living conditions, or were his living conditions. He was living with his father, and I believe it was his father's girlfriend. I don't think they were married.
No problem. Yeah, I'm just contacting anybody who had done kind of CSB referrals or had any possible dealings with Takoda Collins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had him every year. I had him and his older brother every year because I'm the art teacher.
So she just told you she's the art teacher. She had Takoda Collins every year. She also had his older brother. I tried to get some information on the older brother, but there's not a lot of information. But when I show you the settlement, they will talk about his siblings in the settlement. They'll also talk about his parents in that settlement as well.
So as an art teacher, I see all the kids every year.
What can you tell me about Takoda?
Takoda was at the heart a really, really sweet little boy. He, he had a few little issues of acting out.
All right. It is cycling because, struggle streaming is real. So just give it a second. It'll be back. It'll be back. Maybe in the future I should download the videos because
acting out and stuff. I think now we know why. He was starved for attention, whether good or bad attention.
And so that's not abnormal. I work in the middle school area, and students starve for attention, good or bad. It's not abnormal for young children, good or bad. And so that would not necessarily raise. I think I'm a struggle streaming right now. I see my Wi-Fi connection is a little glitchy. I will wait until it returns full stream. All right, it's back. So yeah, students that, crave attention, good or bad, that's not really an indicator that something's wrong or something's wrong at home. It could be just because they're children, they're middle school children, emotions and all of that, social emotional needs are maybe not being met. So that wouldn't necessarily raise red flags. And again, the images that we are seeing are the living conditions that not just Takoda was living in, his father and the woman was living in this house with. These are the living conditions. They are going to also take you into the spaces where Takoda was being held.
He frequently smelled. And
now that right there, that's a red flag for me. As an educator, I've had students that have had smells. And when that happens, I know that most schools, the district that I'm in, they do have a washer and dryer in the building, but we also have a program in our building where they will help kids get clothes. They will actually take kids shopping. And I've contacted the resource person that will be in charge of that to help students. It's not something that I would address directly with the parent and or student, but I would take it to someone that would be able to help a student in that situation, because when that happens, there is something going on at home. And we do need to figure out what that is and how the school can help close that gap, because you don't want students to be in need or in crisis in school. And a smell coming from a child is a very huge indicator that something horrible is not, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Something's wrong.
looking back now we know why. Any time I see and see, they all run together, right? It's been so.
If you look in the background, you can see Takoda's dad. You can see the woman that was also living in the home and what looks to be like a newborn baby. So it wasn't just Takoda living in these conditions that you are seeing on the screen. You also have newborn babies being born into these conditions.
So many years, but I can't remember if it was Takoda or his older brother Khalil. It might have been Khalil. I took him out in the hall because he had scratches all around his eye. And I said, "What happened to your eye?" And he said, "Takoda scratched me with a stick."
All of the windows are covered with what looks to be like a blanket or a sheet. And then the doorway is covered with a blanket. And if you look in the left-hand corner, not only are they living here, it looks like they have a dog that lives here as well, which is alarming. If you can't live comfortably, how do you have the means to also take care of a dog?
Which could be very believable. Looking back now, I'm sure it isn't. And the next day I got a call from his dad saying, don't you dare talk to my kids again. Don't you dare question my kids again. Very.
So the father, I'll wait a second. My Wi-Fi signal is a little low. I will wait for the Wi-Fi signal to be restored. There we go. So the father found out that they were asking Takoda questions or trying to help him actually. And the father got very upset and went to the school and told them that they were not allowed to talk to the kids. You're not allowed to help my children, is basically what he said. Scratches, don't worry about the scratches. I'm sure if they were able to give Takoda clothes or clean them up, he probably was very upset about that. So much so that he's going to make changes to Takoda's education and then put him in homeschooling. There's also, and I'll probably talk about this one day, there's a gap for some, not all, for some students who are removed from schools and placed into homeschooling situations. There is a gap with what happens to some of those kids. They get lost in the system, which is another reason why there is a settlement in this case. And I think that, I meant to say this too. This case is taking place in Ohio.
In a very threatening manner. The dad was, he would call and scream and yell at us, kind of unhinged. Takoda, at lunchtime and at breakfast, always ate a lot.
There is a hanging dog chain, it looks like, in the shape of some type of noose, hanging in the middle of this home.
So, in retrospect now, you're never sure whether they ate a lot because they were hungry because they weren't being fed at home.
Hanging in the middle of the home on purpose, with a purpose. What would be the purpose for this to be hanging in the middle of a doorway or an entryway to a home?
Or whether they're going through a growing spurt. Because we do have some kids that are very well taken care of, but that eat a lot. Looking back now, I think it's probably because,
These are clothes in the middle of the floor. They're going to put some close-ups of these clothes on the screen, and they're soiled. These are soiled clothes in the middle of the home. They're also going to talk a little bit later, and I don't think I'm going to play the whole video just because it's just so much about how Takoda would wear the same thing to school every day. The same thing. That is alarming as an educator. If children are coming to school with the same thing on every day. Not just the school system, all of these systems failed Takoda Collins, all of them. It's interesting when the teacher that the art teacher is saying, now looking back, right? Like, now looking back, we know why. And I don't know what else a teacher would be able to do. I don't even know what else a school district or administrators would be able to do. But in situations like this, there has to be something that they could have done to help this young boy who not just probably craved help and attention that they said good or bad, his external presence showed that he needed help. His clothing, his body odor, he needed help. And he was not able to get the help. And you might be asking where his mother is. We'll talk about that when we look at the timeline. So the woman that is in the house with the father, that they're having other children, she's not his mother. She's not his mother. The mother is somewhere else. We'll talk about that.
He wasn't being fed well at home. He was really, really thin. And so was his older brother.
I have no idea what this is. But when the police entered the premises, this is what they found. This is what they found. These are the conditions that this little boy was living in. This is heartbreaking that anybody would have to live in these types of conditions. Like, houses can be messy. Children can be messy. But this is beyond that.
You said they were well fed, like at school?
Well, no, what I mean is, like, kids that are well fed at home and sometimes come to school and want to eat a lot just might have big appetites. But looking back now, I think it was because Takoda and Khalil just weren't getting enough food at home.
Right.
Like, I remember Khalil, and I'm not so sure if Takoda did it because I didn't often work his lunch period. But when Khalil was here, he would put milk and things like that in his coat pockets too.
And so sometimes kids do eat a lot at school. That's not abnormal either. But if you have a really thin child who may look emaciated and they come to school and they want to eat a lot and they smell, right? And the father is being obnoxious about inquiring about the health of the child. All of those things together seems like somebody would have intervened somewhere. And it just didn't happen for this little boy. And then when you stop and see where this child was living, the stove that my children use to cook, it's a little greasy. But this is nasty, right? Like, this is nasty. This is heartbreaking that this little boy or any human being is living like this.
We take out of the lunchroom with him.
I gotcha.
It's just sad. It's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. Did Takoda ever tell you anything?
No, never. I don't know that he told anybody anything.
Right.
I think that's interesting. Most children, abused or not, very likely, or probably especially abused, I think. Because I'm thinking about my students in my class. Young children will tell everything. My middle school kids will tell all kind of crazy things that are going on in their home, right? Because they feel safe. But when you see a child who is in crisis and they're not talking or saying anything, I think that is also another red flag about what is happening in their home. What is going on?
And if you threatened, like if he was acting up in my room and I'd say, Dakota, I'm going to call your dad, he would just pure fright. Please don't call my dad, Mrs. Watson. I'll stop. And he would.
Please don't call my dad. And the dad has threatened the school. Please don't call my dad. And the dad has said, do not talk to my children. Do not be concerned with any marks that you see on my children. Please don't call my dad.
It was just sad. I mean, he was just so starved for affection and attention.
Yeah. Did he ever exhibit any signs of like self-harm stuff when he was younger?
No, never.
Did he ever have any bathroom accidents? Or did he use the bathroom?
In my room?
Yeah.
Not in my room. See, I only had him like once a week. Every week, once a week. You'd have to ask like other teachers that had him every day.
Hey, Foxy, I see you. Hey, girl, hey. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Yeah. So they're asking about bathroom accidents. In my opinion, he like if he came to school with the same clothes on every day, how would you know necessarily? I guess unless the seat is wet. It's just sad, right? This is just so sad. All right, we're gonna finish up with her interview, and then I'm not going to oh wait, where's my thing? I'm not going to play any more of the interviews. We're gonna go through the father's pleading guilty. So we're going to wrap up the art teacher's interview, and I think we've seen pretty much all the images in the home. A lot of the videos on the Blue Dot Crime and Interrogations, depending if they have live people, will just keep showing the same images over and over as they like. There are a few teachers on this interview, so I'm just going to finish this one because I don't want to play their whole video and get copyright struck. So let's finish this one up, and then we'll go into the plea from Takoda's father.
He always smelled, though. I mean, like, you know, kids that don't change their clothes or don't wash their clothes and maybe have accidents in their clothes. But no, I never was aware of him having an accident in my room.
Okay, well, I appreciate you talking to me.
Sure.
I'm just talking to everybody just to get a
Have you talked to Megan Winston?
I did, yes.
I wanted to stop on this image right here. This one right here. Look at this. This is probably dog pee, I'm thinking. I don't know if you've ever... I had a dog for about a year. I don't know if you've ever smelled dog pee. It's not a good smell. This is just heartbreaking that anybody is living like this. A man, a woman, a 9, 10-year-old little boy, and a baby, a newborn baby.
I did, yes. I did.
Okay.
I talked to her.
Okay, because he really threatened her.
Yeah, I don't think she would remember exactly what, but yeah. She did tell me that.
Yeah, because he would call up and scream and yell and cuss and everything else. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you so much.
If you think of anything that you think I...
All right. So that is the end of the interview with the teacher. I'm going to close this out. YouTube is telling me I might be having interruptions. Find out why. We don't know why. So this next video is the plea. Takoda Collins' father pleads guilty to the murder. He murdered his son. Foxy made a comment that says, so sad. The school admin need more education on how to handle this. I don't know if it's more education, Foxy. I think it's more ability. Like you're limited because you'll see it when I go through the timeline. He was taken out of school. The father was upset because the school was trying to help Takoda. The father got upset with the school and took Takoda out of school. That's part of how all of this tragedy unfolded because there was no consistent monitoring of Takoda because his daddy took him out of the school. All right, let's watch this is about a 2-minute story. Takoda Collins' father pleads guilty.
First here tonight at 10, the man accused of murdering his son in Dayton in 2019 pleaded guilty in a Montgomery County courtroom today.
Along with him, his fiancee also pleaded guilty for her involvement in the boy's death. Today's report, Caroline Morse joins us live.
The fiance, so the lady that was there that had his baby was his fiance. I think I'm glitching. I'm gonna wait until the Wi-Fi returns to full steam. There we go. It's back. So the lady was his fiance, and the fiance allowed the things that happened to Takoda to happen. Foxy, stay tuned so you can see what all happens to this baby. What all was allowed to happen to this baby.
After speaking with the prosecution, Caroline.
Prosecutors said that today's plea agreement might finally close the chapter in 10-year-old Takoda Collins' death. They said his life was filled with darkness. Court documents stated that the boy was locked in an attic and was abused daily for several years. And additionally, detectives believe
Takoda was
that moments before his death, he was held underwater and almost drowned.
Takoda was locked in an attic and abused daily for years. Locked in the attic. Where are the neighbors? Don't the neighbors wonder where children are who live in homes? Where is the system like CPS, right? Like you said that, Foxy. All schools need CPS as part of the team. Who's following up on this child who the school has already identified as having bruises, having a smell? He might not be in the school anymore, but nobody checked on this child once he was removed from the school system? I don't understand how this child was locked in an attic and abused for years. This is not an old story. This is coming to a final conclusion. This video is an update from September the 8th of this year.
He didn't find peace in life. We are hopeful that this will bring some peace in his death.
Wednesday afternoon, 10-year-old Takoda Collins' father pled guilty to murdering his son. In addition to the murder charge, McLean also pled guilty to kidnapping, rape by force, and 3 counts of child endangerment.
Mr. McLean was the primary abuser of this child.
Kidnapping, rape by force. This is his child. His child has a mother who had some problems, but she was looking for her son. The father took the son away from her. The system allowed it as well. The system allowed him to take that boy. He kidnapped the son. He raped our word. I can't say, I don't think YouTube wants me to say that word. He did something terrible to his son and then murdered him. And this was over time. Years. This little boy endured this. Years. He would go to school hungry, smelly, dirty clothes. Years. And nobody was able to help him.
He beat him on his day of his death. The rape occurred on the date of his death, and that was brutal and vicious.
McLean's fiance, Amanda Hines, pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter and multiple counts of
He had help.
child endangerment for her involvement in Takoda's death.
She was every part of complicit, which means to aid, to abet, to assist. Without her spurring him on, without her participating, and when Takoda should be punished and abused, it wouldn't have happened.
Court documents say
She helped. And she had a baby by this man. I don't understand human beings right now. She helped this man abuse his son, and then she laid down and had a baby with him. And if he was allowed to continue, did she not think that this would happen to her child as well? I don't understand. And the strength that this little boy had to have to survive as long as he did is amazing.
the abuse, which Takoda endured for several years, came to a brutal end December 13th, 2019, when McLean raped and beat his own son to death. The Montgomery County Prosecutor's Office says they're relieved to see both defendants behind bars.
Our goal through the investigation.
My Wi-Fi signal is a little laggy, so I'm going to pause it right there until it returns. Because, you know, struggle streaming is still a thing over here. And I don't know how to fix it. And so, yeah, we're just going to... There it is. It's back. See how that works? We've learned to pause for the struggle stream cause. So, again, the father, this grown man, is torturing his son. His son. Not that it would be better if it was somebody else's son, but his son. And he's still here.
And through the prosecution is always to seek truth and to find justice for the victims. These two belong incarcerated.
Hines faces up to 30 years in prison, and McLean faces 40 to 51 years to life in prison. Now, sentencing will take place on September 29th. Live in Dayton, I'm Caroline.
All right, so I can close this one out. They've already been sentenced. We'll talk about that in the timeline. We might not get to that in the timeline. We'll see. The timeline that I like is coming slowly, guys. It'll load in a second, Foxy, and anybody watching it on the replay. The timeline that I chose, whenever it loads. Hey, girl. Hey, where you at? Wait, I don't want it to go away. Let me see if I pull it back over here and then pull it back over there, if that'll help some. Give me a second, you guys. I'll put this screen back up for you, and then I will reload. Oh, there it is. Okay. I just needed to pull it back over. All right. So this is the timeline for Takoda's life. I'm not going to read everything on the timeline. I'm just going to kind of go through it briefly. So Takoda was born in Dayton, Ohio. His father is accused of abusing and R-wording him. There are two women who have been charged. So not only his fiance, there's another woman. I think it's the sister. There's a if you're listen, if you want to listen to the phone calls, the Blue Crime channel has all of the phone calls with the fiance, as well as with the sister and the father. The father's phone calls are terrible. They're terrible. He takes no blame in these phone calls for what he did to his child. So this timeline is court records, police reports, property records, and school files from Wisconsin, where he was taken to Wisconsin in Montgomery County. So December 18th, Takoda is born to Robin and that man. I'm not gonna say his name because I'm not. November 12th, Collins admits. So Collins is the mother. The mother admits that she hit Takoda. So she receives probation and she loses custody. So this is where the trauma begins, because she hit the child and the father gets the child. December 9th, 2011, her probation is revoked and she goes to prison because she was using drugs. So this the what's behind all of this is drug use. April 5th, 2012, the father hits and chokes a man in Wisconsin because he thinks he has his phone. He pleads guilty. So the father has a violent past. October of 2013, the mother writes to the court and asks for the father to not be allowed. So this is interesting. The mother writes to the court and asks that the father not be allowed to take the child out of Ohio, claiming that the father's treatment is under investigation by officials in Wisconsin. So maybe she's in Wisconsin. I could be wrong about that. I thought this was in Ohio. Maybe it's Wisconsin. So the mother has her own struggles with drug abuse and child abuse. She's been sentenced. So the court might not even be listening to her. They might not believe her. They might be like, you just, you tripping. We're gonna leave Takoda with the father. Father, sister. Wait, hold on, Foxy. I ain't there yet. Wait, let's see. October 23rd, 2013, McLean receives permanent sole custody. So the mother has no more rights. The mother is not allowed to have any input or say about what happens with her son. October 26, 2013, McLean is accused of hitting his fiance. So he's abusive. He's hit a man, and now he's hit his fiance over the head with a pipe, dragging her by her hair to a car and punching her before driving away with her in Wisconsin. And of course, this is a cycle that people who are abused, I'm not going to just say women, men too, people who are abused will drop charges against their abusers. And she very likely stayed with him. February 26, 2014, Collins writes, this is the mother. She writes to the Wisconsin court that the father has moved the son to Union City, Tennessee. So they're in Wisconsin. He's moved to Tennessee. He ripped him out of school and left. I have no idea what's going on. Without CPS involved in any information, I'm not even sure how he is. So she now doesn't know anything about her son, and she doesn't really have the authority to, because they've taken her rights away. February 26, 2014. Oh, we just talked about that one. June 30th, 2014. McLean files with the Wisconsin court his intent to move to Pennsylvania. So now he wants to go to Pennsylvania. Collins signed a notarized letter agreeing to the move. This is a problem. If you believe that this man is taking your son, why would you sign? And then later she writes a handwritten letter to say she was bullied and pressured into signing the notarized letter. At that moment, the mother, I'm not like, what is happening with the parents? You're allowed to have children without restriction, but then the children are not safe. The mother's not safe. The father's not safe. Neither of these parents are safe for this child. August 18, 2014, first day of school at Horace Mann Elementary School in Dayton. So they are in Takoda's enrollment date is unknown, but school officials confirmed he was a student starting in 2014. October 20th was 2014 was Wisconsin court rules that McLean is allowed to move with Takoda. So the courts allowed the father to leave. The courts allowed the court system allowed the father to leave and move to Pennsylvania. The mother does have visitation rights, but the mother doesn't live in Pennsylvania. So will the mother, who has been known to have a drug addiction as well as abuse of this child, actually be able to visit the child? December 30th, 2014, Amanda Hines is the fiance, buys a house on Kensington Drive in Dayton. February 19th, 2016, so about 2 years later, Montgomery County Children's Services calls Dayton police for a well check regarding possible abuse of Takoda's 9-year-old brother. No one answers the door when the officers arrive. So the older brother very likely was abused. March 6, 2016, Hines calls the police saying McLean is drunk and refusing to leave, but she keeps taking him back. He's abused her. She dropped the charges. Officers respond and allegedly find McLean drunk and argumentative. They advise Hines of the eviction process. I wonder if they checked on the children. May 25th, 2016, Hines calls police crying hysterically. This lady is still with this man, saying McLean hit her and won't leave. He didn't already hit her with a pipe. He already hit this woman with a pipe. Saying he hit her and won't leave. Officers respond and no charges are filed. June 9th, 2016, Hines calls Dayton police saying a neighbor is intoxicated and threatening to kill her. Police arrive and allegedly find that both the neighbor and McLean appear to be intoxicated and fighting. So this is a cycle that the woman and this man live in. Incident ends with no one taken into custody. Nobody is ever taken into custody. What is going on with the Dayton police? June 26, 2016, a caller who gives the name Al contacts police from Kensington Drive home to report that he was assaulted by a woman. Caller disconnects from dispatcher several times as officers gather information. Incident ends with no one taken into custody. I'm so confused. If police keep getting calls from the same house, what's the process? There has to be a process to stop it. Like, why y'all keep calling the police? No one is taken into custody. No one is taken into custody. August the 2nd, 2016. Montgomery County Sheriff's Office serves a civil protection order to McLean. Records show it was from a woman he met locally who says he assaulted her in August. The protection order was dismissed. You know what this reminds me of? Because the incident didn't meet the threshold for an order. This reminds me of that incident with that man recently who did something terrible to his pregnant fiance or girlfriend and his ex-wife and left the children in the car. The ex-wife did a lot of court filings. She talked about how scared she was. And all of her orders were pretty much dismissed. And then in the end, when the man decided what he was going to do to end it all, his video recording, if you believe him, blamed her for everything. People got on the internet and started making videos about how terrible women are and women this and women that. And days later, the actual information from the court records showed that she was screaming for help. How scared she was of her ex-husband. And nobody helped her. The systems are broken. August 20th, 2016, Takoda's older brother runs away from the Dayton home. Once found, he tells police that he is forced to do squats while holding a heavy backpack as punishment. Police contact Children's Services and officers are told a referral was made. Police attempt to search the Kensington... Excuse me? Police attempt to search the Kensington Drive address but couldn't access some parts because of pit bulls. Call animal control. Officers noticed cameras inside and outside. The video that we watched earlier, it showed you that, like, besides the fact that they have dogs, remember one of the TV screen was sitting on a table and there were 4 cameras. So they have videos everywhere. Protection is important. The house is a mess, but they got video cameras. They want to be protected, but the house is a mess. Police attempt to search the Kensington Drive address, but couldn't access some parts because of pit bulls. Officers noticed cameras inside and outside the house, but McLean tells them the cameras don't record. And that's it. And that's it. Exactly, Foxy. Help me understand. The system. This young boy runs away from home to tell y'all what's happening in his home. And you don't go in that home? September 14, 2016, McLean calls Dayton police to report someone had broken into his house and threatened his family at gunpoint because of a dispute about a wheelchair. Police records say Hines' sister, Jennifer Ebert, Takoda, and his brother were home when the incident occurred. She might be the third defendant. I don't know if she got charged. Takoda and his brother were home when the incident occurred. McLean provides police with video. Oh, now we got a video. So no police officer said, oh, remember when we came here before and he said the video cameras don't work? Oh, now he got a video. They work now. With the video of the incident captured on his cameras. Shut the front door. Make it make sense, police. Did they record? I'm so confused. July 29th, 2017. Hines calls police reporting that people that she doesn't know are yelling and threatening her. Officer responds and finds issue is over a grass cutting disagreement. Girl. May 11, 2018. Dayton Public Schools worker and Montgomery County Children's Services request welfare check on Takoda because of fears he was being abused. Police respond to Kensington Drive house and get no answer at the door. And so what? And so what? What do you mean? And get no answer. And so then what? What happens after you don't get an answer? May 12th through the 24th, 2018, Takoda is pulled from school. So on the 11th, the school and the children's services request a welfare check. Somewhere between the 12th and the 24th, he's taken out of school. Red flags, red flags, red flags. How do you let this happen? How does he get taken out of school? But exact date is unknown. According to multiple Dayton school officials, school staff say they never saw the boy again. July 31st, 2018, Takoda is formally withdrawn from school and is homeschooled. Is he though? Who checks on that? Who checks on the homeschool situation? Once you take a kid out of a public school and you say you're homeschooling them, who checks on that? I don't know. I'm not a homeschooler. That's a problem. November 14, 2018, Dayton police respond. Mind you, the mother has no control anymore. Maybe she got her life cleaned up. Maybe she wants to do better. But the courts took away all of her power. She can visit in a whole nother state. November 14, 2018, Dayton police respond to an argument between residents at Kensington Drive house. If the police keep getting called to the same place, make it make sense. This agreement centers around someone allowing their friend to park a car in front of the house. So we done got a call over grass. We done got a call about being drunk. We done got a call about a car being parked. We've also tried to visit this house because the school that this boy was going to, as well as CPS, say we need to check on his welfare. We also know that one of the children who live at the same address ran away. Girl, Foxy. Girl, listen. This. Let's keep going. We almost done because baby ain't gonna live very much longer. November 14, 2018, Dayton police respond to an argument between residents at Kensington Drive House. Oh, we already read that one. November 18, 2018, McLean and Hines called Dayton police complaining Takoda is being unruly. Excuse me? The grown-ups call the police about a 9 or how old is he, about 9 or 10? Because he's being unruly. McLean asked police to take the boy to the Juvenile Justice Center. Once Takoda is in the back seat, McLean says he doesn't want to press charges and will take Takoda to Kettering Hospital. Hospital officials say he never came. What in the absolute F is going on here? What in the what? What just happened? Two grown people called the police on their child, the father's child. The police come, and the father say, no, we good. We good. I'm going to take him to the hospital. And nobody follows up on that boy because he never went. He never made it to the hospital. May 6, 2019, Collins files a motion for contempt. The mother. So finally, years, the mother files motion for contempt in Wisconsin court against the father. The father has never brought Takoda to see me. Did you think he was, mother? It's kind of like dads. When mom, like, it's not his responsibility. Mom, it's yours. If you want to see your son, go see your son. If you want to check on your son, go check on your son. You should have figured that out. Clean up and go get your baby. Clean up, get him. Go save him. She files a contempt against him because he's never brought him to see him since he left the state. I've spoken to him on the phone. I have spoken to him once on the phone in 4 years. I have spoken to him once. I don't understand. Everybody failed him. His mother, his father, all of the systems, all of them. May 13, 2019, Wisconsin court dismisses Collins' motion saying the case is in the jurisdiction of Ohio since Takoda lives there now. I'm so confused about where this child lives. I thought he was in Pennsylvania. Like I said, I thought he was in Ohio in the beginning, and then my mind got changed because he's been a couple of places. So Wisconsin dismisses this because he's in Ohio. May 14th, Collins calls Dayton police telling them she believes her son is being abused by McLean. She already knew he was being abused. She only talked to him one time. It's not the father's responsibility. Never went to visit her son. Never checked on him. Police respond and dispatch records say they believe Takoda was being cared for. What you do? Girl! I'm about to scream. Police respond and dispatch records say they believed Takoda was being cared for. Where? What records show? I thought y'all didn't go in the house. Y'all didn't check on his hospital. Who checked on him from homeschool? How do you respond with this? My hair hurt. I'm confusion. December 13, 2019. Takoda dies. May. Police said, oh, he's good. December. Takoda is gone. They arrest the father. Montgomery County Children's Services say they do not have an open case on Takoda. How do they not, is the question. Years of police being called to this house. years, this child is taken out of the school system. They got records about what it was like while he was in the schools. Nobody went, no. They don't have an open case. December 13, 2019. Oh, we already read that. December 16th, Dayton police served search warrant at Kensington Drive. That's the home we just watched, locating several items they allege were involved in child abuse, like that noose hanging in the middle of the home. December 20th, Dayton police arrest Hines. That is the fiance and the sister. So it's not, I think that's your, y'all know I need my Carmex. I've been talking a lot. Foxy, I think that's your question up here where you were asking about the father's sister. It's the fiance's sister. It's the fiance's sister. Both are charged in connection with the child abuse investigation. These women knew that this little boy was being abused. They knew it. My mother's calling me. I'm not ready yet, mommy. You gotta wait. But we'll go after some, yeah. December 23rd, 2019, McLean is indicted with 7 felonies, including the R word. He is accused of abusing Takoda between November the 1st, 2018 and December 13th, 2019, and very likely longer. All right, let's see how this ends, you guys. And then I have to go. My mommy's calling me. All right, so Montgomery County reaches a settlement with Takoda Collins estate. This is October 12th. Montgomery County has reached a settlement agreement with the estate of Takoda Collins. The estate will receive $3.25 million, with the largest portion going to Collins' 3 siblings, half brothers and sisters. Collins' mother and grandmother will also receive a portion. In a statement, Montgomery County commissioners said they hope the settlement is a way for Collins' siblings to move forward in their lives following the tragic death of their brother. The settlement comes just a year after it was filed in Montgomery County Common Pleas Court. The lawsuit said this action arises out of a failure by the Montgomery County Children's Services to protect, period. Montgomery County Children's Services did not protect 10-year-old Takoda Collins from physical, the S word, and emotional harm, resulting in his needless, tragic death as proximate result of the wrongful acts and omissions of the defendants. To be brief, he was tortured. He was starved. He was beaten. And he was R-worded. Just the most horrific things a child could go through. Takoda went through, and this was all, it was all preventable. Nobody did their job. I would even garner to say, my Wi-Fi signal is being janky right now. We're going to pause for the cause and let the Wi-Fi come back. And as soon as it's back, I'll finish with my thoughts. And then we'll wrap this up. It's back. The school system. I don't know if they're responsible for following up on homeschool children. Child welfare. Definitely. The police department. If you get that many calls and complaints at the same address, what is happening? What do? You just keep showing up and walking away. One child ran away. One child was in the back of your car. Takoda was in the back of your car, and you still was like, okay, we're coming back to the dad. Make it make sense. And when he was in the back of the car, I'm sure he smelled. I'm sure he did. Police officers, you didn't think that was important? I'm so confused. I'm so frustrated. I only am a parent. I'm an educator. And this is just unthinkable. Because I know when they're out of my classroom, when I report it, there's nothing else I can do. There's nothing else I can do as an educator. In the statement, Montgomery County said they will continue to work with the state to address the child welfare system changes, and at the county level, the following recommendations have been implemented. Updating local policies to include speaking with all members of the household. You think that would be good? reaching back out to reporters of abuse and neglect as appropriate, scrutinizing all case history reports. You think whether or not that history resulted in an investigation, meeting at least monthly with the Child Protection Unit to review cases and share feedback, intensify staff training to include procedures to take for uncooperative parents and guardians when child safety is questioned. Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act, and understanding parental rights and actions caseworkers can take. Jesus. These simple things seem like they would have been in effect. Anyway, if your job is to take care of children. According to a News Center 7 I-Team investigation, Collins' estate is made up of his surviving family members. There is also an administrative of his estate. That's good. All right. And then finally, Collins' father, whatever his name is, was convicted on charges of murder, kidnapping, and child endangering, and sentenced to 51 years to life in prison. He will be 83 years old when he's eligible for parole. I pray he's not ever paroled. His fiance also pleaded guilty. I'm so confused. To charges of manslaughter and child endangering, and was sentenced to 27 to 27 and a half years in prison. She shouldn't get out either. She listen. Why? Hines' sister pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter and other charges and was sentenced to 8 to 12 years. I'm not sure what the sister did, but she was knowledgeable, and I'm thinking she was living in the house. I don't know. I don't know. Court documents show Collins was kept in a dirty, locked, dark attic and was abused daily, often while naked. Abused daily. Childhood should be joyful. That baby was traumatized. The coroner determined Collins' cause of death was blunt force trauma, along with compressive asphyxia and water submersion. So he drowned him. Court documents also said that Collins was held underwater and gasping for breath prior to leaving the earth. I want to thank you for tuning in, Foxy. And for anybody that is watching this on the replay, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you being here. This is hard to do, but we all deserve to be remembered. Rest well, Takoda Collins. And I pray this gets better for children and that parents do better with raising the gifts that they are given. Please make sure you subscribe, like, and share. I appreciate you for tuning in, and I need to take a break. I'll be back later with a little life update. Thank you, guys.